the world's most effective and devastating fighting arts without taking 30 years to learn them, then this is absolutely the most unique and one of the best martial arts programs that has probably ever been created. And if you stick with me a few minutes, you'll understand why. Now, basically, to become a martial arts master, it would take you around 20, 30 years of traveling, training, loads of trial and error, of finding out what works, who's the good teachers, etc. And a lot of struggle and sacrifice to get there, and a lot of money as well. Now, so if you imagine you were a martial arts, if you were a millionaire, you could get there a little bit quicker, and you could do that by hiring the best masters to come and train you, and to really fast track your skills by doing it that way. Now, most of us were not millionaires, so we're absolutely not able to do that, but there is one man who has had the equivalent insight of a millionaire, and his name is Bob Sykes, and he's the godfather of British martial arts. He founded a martial arts magazine over 20 years ago called Martial Arts Illustrated. Now, everybody, all the top martial artists wanted to be on the front cover of his magazine and wanted exposure. So what Bob did was he gave them exposure in the magazine in order for them to train him. So this put Bob in the cat seat of martial arts because it gave him unprecedented access to the very best training and the best fighting systems the world has to offer, unlike anyone I know. And the reason why it was so good is because Bob was a fighter as well. And what Bob could see very quickly was from who was the real deal and who wasn't. So he was quickly able to cut the wheat from the chaff and learn from those who really, really were the real deal. And we created together a program called the Blueprint Decoded. And what this was designed to do was give you an odyssey. I mean, imagine a program, if Tim Ferriss put together a program of martial arts, it would probably be this, because Bob Sykes has been the guy that has hacked the best martial artists. So you're going to get a front row seat, and you certainly won't learn a lot of these skills going down a local martial arts club, because you just can't access this type of skills certainly in one place from one person or even a couple of people. And even the amount of traveling, the amount of people that Bob has trained with, and he's sharing with you on this program the best stuff that he has learned in the last 30 years of deep martial arts practice and training. It was called the Blueprint Decoded. Here's a few little snapshots for you. In this, you will learn something called the Garuda, which is absolutely the ultimate close quarter fighting system in its ancient form, and it's Bob's favorite for the street. And as soon as I saw this, I got this straight away. And this is something that I've added to my arsenal, because a lot of fighting systems are good from a distance. But not what a lot struggle with is when things get up close in the clinch. Now, this is only 3 moves. It doesn't take ages to learn. It's simple. But when you see this in action, it is absolutely incredibly devastating. You'll also get a bonus on this of the pressure point skills. Now, pressure points are a very controversial subject. And I wouldn't sort of want to invest all my life in learning pressure points. What Bob does here is Bob shows you the only pressure point skills you need, where you can apply these 2 simple taps to someone's head, and you'll send him back reeling 10 feet away, no matter how big he is. You'll learn to develop brutal power in elbow strikes so that you can end fights fast. You'll also develop the ultimate martial arts strength and conditioning, which is the iron shirt kung fu exercises. Now, these were all things that were, only passed down from master to student, and the Chinese were very secretive. They didn't share these things. Now Bob's going to show you how you can develop, that iron body and take powerful blows to your body with superhuman efficiency with these iron shirt skills. There's also an extremely rare form that Bob shares with you that was only taught to somebody under a death oath. The person had to fast for 40 days and 40 nights and take a death oath to learn this form. I passed it on to Bob, and Bob is sharing this with you. Bob will also share with you his most devastating technique that made him victorious in the legendary Clash of the Titans. Now, this was an event I fought on as well, and Bob was a pioneer in this. These were before UFC, these were early MMA events. And also, Bob will show you the most lethal stick fighting skills and weaponry known to man. And there's a heck of a lot more on this. So let me take you through a little bit about Bob, who's an incredible man. He was also an outstanding fighter. He fought the legends, the 5-6 times world champion Alfie Lewis, Cash the Flash Gill, Arthur O'Loughlin, Jackson White, and too many others. Bob was a legend. He fought everybody. He never backed down from a challenge. Like one time when he fought Bill Superfoot Wallace, who was the legendary undefeated kickboxing champion, and he had a left leg kick recorded at over 60 miles an hour. Bob went down to his seminar, challenged him to a match at the end, and it went down in folklore. These two basically, it took place in Manchester, and they had a 15-minute spar at the end that was a bruising encounter. Everyone stopped to watch it, and it's talked about even to this day that that fight that happened. Also, Bob challenged the best Wing Chun masters. He basically said that he didn't believe in Wing Chun in the 80s, and he challenged the 4 best masters in the UK to a bare knuckle fight. And he challenges were a lot more common then, and it took place on the remote hill, and there was only one guy called Derek Jones, who was a legendary fighter, who took up the challenge. And it happened up a remote hill, and in the end, the fight became a draw. But there are photos here. Again, it's another legendary thing that not many people would have the balls to do. But Bob was one of those guys, and he was a true warrior. So when Bob tells you something's good, he's walked the walk and talked the talk. And this is why the Blueprint Decoded, the insider's guide to the best fight mastery secrets, is absolutely, a one-off program. You'll learn the Garuda, which is a devastating elbow system, which is the best close quarter fighting system I have ever seen. And it's an absolute must to add to your system of training. It's a 3-point attack system. It's the hammer, the cannon of the martial arts. You'll also learn how to apply all this into really effective combinations. You'll learn weapon mastery skills, some of the best weapons and stick fighting skills that you can learn. And again, you won't have to go through loads of different training. This will shortcut that to give you only the skills that you really need. On Volume 4 or Section 4, there is the mind game section, which is really interesting. He brings in a Dr. Rory McSweeney, which covers the mental side. And basically, Bruce Lee said, if you took a game of poker and if you took 10 players and they played for over 10 hours, you're going to get mathematically good and bad cards. And yet, in a game of poker, what tends to happen is one person tends to come out on top. And you see the same faces that win. So this comes down to the mental side. They're not the luckiest players, they have something else. And Bruce Lee said that when 2 fighters of equal speed and ability and power meet, it is the master of the feint who will be victorious, and he is right. Now, Rory will show you how to understand what your opponent's thinking, how to anticipate, how to intercept, and gain the mental edge over your opponent, how to eliminate luck, and how to fight well every single time. Now, I already said you're going to get the pressure points bonus, so you'll learn to use these 2 simple taps onto the head to send your opponent, no matter how big he is, reeling in pain away over 10 feet. And you'll also learn the 7 consecutive pressure point attack system that will leave your opponent stunned and probably knocked out as well. You'll also get the Iron Shirt Kung Fu training. But if you want a hands down shortcut 30 years of martial arts mastery, this is an odyssey. This is an absolute must if you don't want to go through the struggle and toil and want a shortcut. If you said to one of the best guys, what do I need to learn? What are the essential skills? What are the best skills? this would be hands down the best training. So click the link, buy this now. You will absolutely not regret this.